What's up, guys, and welcome to the Hollywood Dreams podcast. Today's episode, we talk with Menace Childe, who you might remember from being Ricky's unfortunate friend on Skid Row's music video for the worldwide hit song 18 and Alive. We had a great conversation about filming the video, how he managed to land the role, all thanks to a Mark Bolan t-shirt, meeting the band, hanging out with them, and of course, we also talk about his band, Forgotten Child. So, without further ado, here's Menace Childe. All right, Menace. Hey, how are you, man?
I'm doing good, brother. Yourself?
I'm doing great, man, as well. Thanks, and welcome to the show.
Yeah, glad to be here, bro. Glad you guys invited me.
For sure, man. I mean, it's a pleasure having you here. So, what's up? What's up with you? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Just trying to beat the heat here. It's been rather hot.
Yeah. Where are you located?
I'm in the Midwest in Missouri,
Oh,
southern Missouri, just off the Arkansas border.
okay. Yeah,
I'm
that
in the middle of the
sounds
Mark Twain National Forest.
nice. That sounds pretty hot. Yeah, well, I'm on the opposite side of the world in Argentina, so I'm freezing my
Been
ass
there
off
many
right
times. Beautiful
now.
place.
Oh, you've been here?
Yeah, I played there.
Oh wow.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
With who? With
with Forgotten Child.
really?
Yeah.
Nice. I did not know that you guys played here. That's awesome, man.
And
S-
that's why we have him on, Santi.
yeah.
Learn stuff.
So do you what year was that?
It was in the late 90s, like
Yeah.
96, 97.
All right. Nice. Yeah. Well, you learn something every day, I
Did
guess.
Sao
I did.
Paulo, Brazil, did
Yeah.
Bahia,
Mm-hmm.
um, Colombia,
Uh-huh.
and Argentina.
Well, look at that.
Then I
Nice.
think we went to Chile.
All right. I mean, you toured the whole South America.
No, not really, but yeah, pretty close.
Yeah, nice. That's awesome, man. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so but you're a California native or are you from Missouri?
No, I was born in Missouri. I grew up in a town called Kansas City, Missouri.
All right.
And
Uh,
I left school at 16, and my brother was living in Los Angeles, and he's a guitar player singer, and I'm 6 years younger than him, so he had already been, starting his music career, and he
mhm.
invited me out to L.A. because he needed a drummer, and so I packed all my shit and moved to L.A. in 1984.
So live the rock and roll dream.
Yeah, well, it didn't become a dream for about 10 years.
It
Well,
was a long
actually,
dream
sooner
in
than
the making.
that. It was probably about 87, 88 when it started to explode.
Yeah, so when did you start at Forgotten Child? Was that your first band when you first got there?
Well, I had played in bands, like garage bands when I was a kid, in high school, different musicians. But I'd never done anything on a professional level till I went to LA and played with my brother.
All
Well,
right.
what
Yeah.
bands were your brother in?
He played, actually, he went to MIT and he played a lot of jazz.
Hmm,
Oh, wow.
And he was a progressive guitar player.
okay.
And believe it or not, he played in a lot of retro Rush bands, and he was like Alex Lifeson.
Wow, that's
Oh,
cool.
wow.
And you
And they
were
used to do a lot of Rush clone. I guess you would say it.
you were playing that stuff?
No. He's older than
Oh,
me. He's 6 years older than me. So I was just a kid in school at these times.
oh, okay.
And like I said, he had gone out to Los Angeles, and then he went to, I don't know if you've heard of it, but the Music Institute of Technology. It's called the GIT.
All right. Yeah.
No, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it was on Hollywood Boulevard back then. It's still there. He graduated GIT, and then he started playing music and clubbing around, and he needed a drummer, so I came out and helped out to form the band, and that was the beginning of Forgotten Child.
Oh wow.
That's awesome. So which clubs did you guys play during that whole period?
What clubs didn't we play? We played basically every club in Hollywood. The Whiskey, Bill Gazzari was like our stepfather. He used to take care of us. We used to play Gazzari's all the time. The Roxy, Whiskey a Go Go. Doug Weston over at the Troubadour used to take care of us all the time. He was great. We played all around Hollywood. We play out in the Valley, FM station, all those clubs out there. We used to go out to Anaheim, play Jezebels. It's just been so long. I'm kind of brain farting on all the clubs, but we go out in Orange County and play, and we used to play the Harbor a lot.
Nice.
So you guys were all over California.
Well, Southern California, right there at Los Angeles. That's all Los Angeles there. But we toured up in San Francisco, too. We played the Stone. That was the infamous club where Metallica got started.
Yeah, how was that? That had to be a different scene for you, because wasn't that all like more the heavier like thrash bands? Or were you
at
guys
that time? We were a little bit heavier.
Oh, okay.
Like I was telling you earlier, we started out playing heavy metal, and then we went to. That's when it was a little before hair band started.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know San Francisco had that big like thrash scene, and
oh yeah, it was huge.
Mm-hmm.
But the Stone was a big club, so everyone played there. So there was different nights where you'd have different events.
Oh, okay.
But a lot of the thrash metal out of California came out of the Stone. There was a lot of great concerts to see. That was back when Cliff was still alive, playing with Metallica at the Stone. That was some good shows.
Did you know those guys personally? Did you like hang out with those guys?
No. I'd met them before. But old guitar player Robert Cromwell, I used to call him Crash because he couldn't drive his car. He'd crash it all the time. So he got the nickname Crash. But he grew up with Dave Mustaine, and he knew Dave Mustaine, and he played with him. Actually, he was one of the originators for, Dave Mustaine's band after Metallica.
Oh, wow.
And did you guys do the whole flyering thing that a lot of bands?
Oh yeah. Every weekend you were outside the Rainbow passing out your flyers to get people to come to the gigs.
Gluing them on windows, stapling them to telephone poles.
Yeah, well, that was posters. We'd make the poster boards, staple them at the intersections, and then windshield wipers were stuffed with flyers. And then you just walk around and you just hit on chicks all night and just, and then that's how you got them to come to the shows.
Man,
yeah.
And it worked, didn't it?
Yeah, but there was just so many at the time. I mean, when at 3 o'clock in the morning when the scene shut down, it was like, up to your ankles was just flyers all over the ground. I guess you'd have to be there to understand, but it was every band.
I get it. That would be awesome. That would be awesome to see. Just flyers all over.
Because at that time, in the mid '80s, from '86 to '90, the Sunset Strip there, in between Gazzari's and the Whiskey, would just be packed with people. And everyone would just be outside hanging out and, shooting the shit and chilling and partying and promoting bands.
Did you hang out in that parking lot? What was it, between Gazzari's and I always heard stories about the parking lot there where like
the
everybody would
9,000
just hang
building?
out. What's that?
The 9,000 building?
Possibly, yeah. There's like, I guess there's like a weird, like like a path or something you go through, and it's like it was just filled with people partying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. There's also a lot of people that say that like the Cat House had a different clubs like the Cat House or more that were not exactly on the Sunset Strip, were more
No,
had
that was down south of there.
yeah
Sunset Strip that we're talking was West Hollywood. You're talking
exactly.
about East Hollywood.
Yeah, so they say that they had a different crowd, like bands were the more bands, the bands that were more in the style of LA Guns or Faster Pussycat, they went to that club, while
Oh
the
yeah,
more
the Cat
glammy,
House. Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
did
That
you
place
say?
was packed every weekend, and it was like a private club. You had your VIP card to get in and out, and they basically picked and choose who came in and who didn't.
So did you prefer that scene or the
Oh
more
yeah, I was in the
glammy?
Cat House all the time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So there was
Yeah,
definitely a segregation between
I knew
bands,
them
right?
guys, Sammy Downs and all them guys. I was around all them guys at that time.
Hmm. David, what were you saying?
Oh no, I was just gonna ask about the how they. It seemed like there was segregation between bands, like the West Hollywood bands would play, and the East Hollywood bands. There was a total of two different scenes, right?
Yeah. Well, that came a little bit later. Yeah. That's when and that all came too in the '90s when the grunge started taking over, and a lot of your grunge clubs were over, off of Fairfax and La Brea, down around Melrose, Beverly. And your hair band bands were staying more up in West Hollywood, up on the Sunset Strip over by Doheny.
Gotcha, right. So I'm looking at the first Forgotten Child album cover, and it's like really, it looks like a really heavy metal album, right? So, what was the what was the recording of that album like?
It was good. A guy named Dirk Dalton is the one who recorded that album and produced it. He had worked with Eddie Van Halen in the past and a lot of different people. He had the Music Master Studios out in Century City, and it was basically an awesome studio. He was a really awesome guy. He went on to do our second album too for us for free.
Oh, nice.
So
That's
if
a
you
good
like the
deal.
band,
That's a good deal. Yeah. So
yeah.
I'm more of a hard rock guy, so I kind of prefer the second album more. I like more the Rock and Roll Salvation album a bit more, but
Uh-huh.
they're both pretty good. They're catchy. I like them. In fact, I was telling Dave that I found funny how you had a song called Skid Row Star, and then you were on the video for the Skid Row the band.
Yeah, I wrote that song in 1985, long before Skid Row was even thought of or even 18 a Life video.
We'll
You
talk about
you
Destiny, man. Right?
you
What's that?
you
Talk about
foresaw your own
Destiny, man.
future.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, yeah. Well, it's different. The lyrics are more about a homeless rocker, a Skid Row star. He goes from Skid Row to star fame, but most people, when they see that on that first album, they're like, oh, I get it, Skid Row star. And I'm like, no, actually, that was like 3 years before that video was even thought of.
That's
uh,
that's just crazy how that turned out.
Yeah, it is crazy how that, did write that song and put it on the first album and then ended up being in the Skid Row video, 18 Alive.
Yeah, and all over, and it all started with a T-Rex T-shirt. Is that right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I had a
And
Mark Bolan shirt on. The whole band came out. There's probably about 100 people there. and they were all and we were all lined up down this building, and the band came out, and they walked all the way down and looked at everybody, and then they came back up, and me and Pat were sitting right by the door where they came out, so we were like the first ones they saw. And then when they came back, they stopped, and Rachel asked me where I got my shirt because he wanted to get one. I told him, you can get it up on Hollywood Boulevard. And he goes, man, that's a badass shirt. I love Mark Boland. And then they went inside, and then the staff came out, and they told everyone to go home, and they told me and Pat to come inside the building. And we went in, and then the band was sitting there, and they go, yeah, man, we like you guys, so you guys want to do this? And we said, yeah, fuck yeah, we do. Awesome. And that's how it started.
And the shirt ended up in the video.
Yeah, sure did.
Yeah, the shirt is in the video.
So what was the recording of that like? I'm guessing you had a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, it was a blast. Wayne Isham's really a cool guy. And, we had booze, live weapons, explosions, dynamite, bombs. Fire marshal was there. We got to blow up a car. It was fun.
That would that scene with the
we
car,
got to shoot a lot of guns.
That's awesome.
Now there was two different sets. The first day the set was at that house where where Ricky gets the gun in the drawer. And his dad throws him through the front door.
Yeah.
And I'm on the porch. That was the first set. That was in downtown Los Angeles. And it was in a neighborhood, and it was just a house that they rented from someone.
Yeah.
And it was kind of cool too, because the guys that did that front door glass, they had like a truck, and what it was is sugar glass, and they throw someone through it. And it was pretty cool how they installed the door, and then we went through it, and they had to shoot it 3 times, so they had to change that piece of glass out 3 times to get the shot right.
That's crazy. So did you guys had to do the other takes, like explosions and stuff? Were you guys
the second day, that was down in the industrial part of town. It was in a warehouse.
Yeah.
And then they got the fire marshal down there, and then they pulled permits so they could blow a car up. And it was in non-residential commercial space,
Right.
And it was in that parking lot outside of a warehouse. And inside that warehouse, that's where we're kicking in the doors and smashing and spray painting the walls. That was inside awesome. The warehouse. And then just outside the warehouse in the parking lot is where they parked the car. And then that's where we had the fight. And we're drinking the tequila and getting drunk. And then I say, go ahead and shoot me. And he pulls the gun up and blows me away.
Now, there's a couple different versions of that video, isn't there?
Oh, yeah. They made 3 different versions.
3 different versions. Wow.
I'm pretty sure. The very first one that we saw got changed. And then the one that came out that was released was different because they changed the ending.
Yeah, I remember there was
before I got shot with a blood bag.
Yeah.
And so you seen the bullet hit, and then the blood bag dispersed, and then I bled. But then they heard that was too hardcore for the TV, so they had to take that out. So they redid another version of the video to where I just open up my coat, and then there's the flash, and then I just fall to the ground.
Yeah.
No, I thought we shot that. They had the remote control blood bag where they tape it to your body underneath your shirt. And then when the gun goes off, the guy's got a trigger, and he pulls the trigger, and it's hooked to a wire that goes up your pants into, up to the bag. And then the bag pops with a little explosion, and then the blood pours out.
Well, I mean, that's it's awesome that you got they they didn't use like any stuntman or anything like that. It's awesome that you were the one doing all of that.
They were going to bring stuntmen in, and then he was going to bring someone in to do all the gun stuff, like spinning the gun and stuff. And then I said, well, here, give me that gun. And I started spinning the gun and shooting it and pulling the bullets out. And I took it apart and put it back together. I go, man, I'm a country boy. And he's like, oh, well, shit, damn, I didn't know that. So he didn't need no stunt man.
Yeah, they could hire you to do props and everything.
What was funny is that he worked on Young Guns too, Wayne Isham, and he goes, "Where were you when we were shooting Young Guns? Because we needed some extra stuntmen to do some of that, spinning the gun and stuff." And I said, "Man, I would have loved that."
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, did you consider ever being like doing any movies like that, like being an extra or something like that?
Yeah, did that for a while, doing movie extras. I never got any major parts or anything, but there are some movies where, like, I could be sitting with friends or family and be like, "Hey, there's me," and they'll go, "Oh shit, it is," But don't blink because you'll miss it,
Anyone that any movie that we can recognize?
Kindergarten Cop.
All right,
Really,
yeah.
you're in that?
Yeah, for like a split second, and I probably have to point it out because you won't find me. It's like, what's that? Where's Waldo?
Yeah.
You're like, what? And they'll have to rewind it and go, no check. And you go like, no, I didn't see you. And then I'll be like, and then I'll hit pause and I'll point and they'll go, oh, there you are.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But me and the bass player Trace Foster did a Guess Jeans commercial with the Go-Go's, where when they asked the guy, "What jeans are you wearing?" he goes, whatever he said. Me and Trace are on each side of him, so that one there you can actually catch us, but I haven't seen that commercial since. I think that we shot that in 87, 88.
Yeah, that's a long time ago, yeah.
Yeah, the Go-Go's were on stage, and they stopped playing, and the singer asked, "What are those jeans you're wearing?" And then the guy said, and then the camera and then Trace is on one side, I'm on the other. We're hanging. We're like the party of three hanging at the concert, and he's got the jeans.
Nice.
That was another little claim to fame.
Did you get a lifetime supply of free jeans from Guess?
Oh, they didn't give us nothing. They paid us a paycheck. That's it.
Well,
that would have been
it's something. You're right.
Use that on the road.
Now that
can always
video.
Use clothes.
Now that video. Once that video came out and that song took off, that helped you guys a little bit too with the Forgotten Child stuff, did it not?
Oh, our whole career changed and exploded. Within 4 months, we had 120,000 fans worldwide and a fan base club that we had on Hollywood Boulevard. And we would get 200 letters a day from women, girls all around the world.
Oh, wow.
I mean, we were getting letters from Soviet bloc countries at the time,
That's amazing, man.
South Africa. I mean, places that I never thought of. Saudi Arabia. Yeah, it was pretty amazing, man. It happened real fast. And that's one thing Wayne Isham told me. He goes, once this video comes out, your life's going to change. And I was like, well, I hope so. I need it. And it sure did.
Wow. Now, did the band, like, did Skid Row or their management or anything approach you guys about maybe going on tour with them or anything like that, or any kind of nothing?
No, we just did the video and that was it. And then I kind of, I kind of had to weasel my way in and out of Skid Row's life. When, I'd go see them live, I'd just go backstage and say, "Hey, it's Menace." And after a while, they kind of knew who I was.
Okay.
But they just kind of used us, paid us, and that was it. They really didn't even know that we had a band till later on in life, crossing paths.
So
we were
was
just
there any?
two guys they picked out in the crowd to do the video,
Right. So when you were
They were
recording
very,
the video,
the thing about that is they, their whole life changed too after that video. They were just all over the place. They were all over the world. They were huge,
That changed everything for them as well.
So they didn't, it was like, I understand that they didn't know who the hell I was. They're, when you're meeting 1,000 people a day, you don't even know who your friends are, a lot of times.
yeah. That's true. Yeah.
It's busy,
So-
yeah. The whole life's just a whole different ball game. So the two guys from the Skid Row video, there's every once in a while I have to remind them. They're like, "Oh yeah, okay."
But when you were recording that, was the band present or not?
Oh yeah. Bass was there at both shoots. Him and his wife, his first wife.
Oh, okay.
They hung out a lot. And then the whole band was there for the car explosion, and then the me getting shot. They were all clapping at the end when I fell to the mat after getting shot. It was pretty cool. I got a standing ovation from the whole band, Skid Row.
Well, not a lot of people can say that. Yeah.
Yeah. Not a lot of people.
Usually,
And it was well deserved.
You're giving them a standing ovation.
Yeah, like I was telling you earlier about that scene, man. That scene is powerful, man. When you're just like, it just all comes out. It's like awesome.
Yeah, that's like the whole, and then that's it. That's when he, spends the rest of his life in prison. Makes the whole song.
Yeah, that's got to be something cool to look back on and just be like, how often do you go back and check out that video?
Oh man, the problem with it is that I have chicks send it to me daily.
Oh,
This is my favorite video. They're posting it on my Facebook page, or they're tagging me in Skid Row groups. So I watch it a lot, and then I'll meet people that will be like, "Oh, bullshit." So I have to show them, and then it's like, and then I smile, and then they look at the dude in the video, and they're like, "Holy crap, that is you." Just 30 years ago.
Yeah.
That was quite a few years ago.
But I kind of aged gracefully, so you can still tell in the face. I still don't really look like an old man. I still look kind of young for my age. So.
Do you still wear those clothes?
No.
I must be the only one that just keeps wearing the same style that I was back then.
So
I could do it, but it's just everything's changed. To a certain degree, I thought you meant the same size.
No, the style. Do you still do your rocker style?
Yeah. Yeah. I can still pull off the Sunset Strip. I do it every once in a while. Go to shows.
Yeah.
You got to make an entrance sometimes.
Hell yeah, you do.
Yeah. Hell
Especially when you're trying to get backstage and no one knows you.
Oh, I bet you were getting backstage a lot from that video back in the day, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I'd use that to my full advantage.
growing up on Sunset and playing with all those bands, I know a lot of them guys, man, and I could walk up to them and they know who I am. So that's not a problem. It's just the whole thing is security. If you ain't got passes or you ain't got tickets, they don't give a shit who the fuck you are, So you gotta find, somebody. I can't get back in GNR unless I see Axel and go, "Hey, Axel, what's up?" And he'll be like, "Oh," because the guards will be like, "Yeah, sure," because they hear it every, you know what I mean? There's 50 people a day telling them, "Yeah, I know the band." It's like, "Yeah, sure you do." That's funny because I just seen Skid Row last month, and there's these two security guards, and they won't let me backstage. And I'm showing them the video and everything. They're like, "Whatever." And I'm going, "Oh, you think I'm lying, don't you? Wait till they come out." And then Scotty Hill walks out, and I go, "Hey, Scotty!" And he's like, "Oh shit, damn!" And he comes up and starts hanging out, and he tells them, "Yeah, this is the dude that got shot in the video." And then they're looking at me with this sour face, like I was, they thought I was making, the whole thing up, and I just smiled at them, like, "See."
That's awesome. Yeah, I met the guys back in '91, and it's cool because I actually have the shirt that I was wearing in the picture with them. I can't put it on anymore; it's a little tighter, so I ended up hanging it on my wall.
Yeah.
But it's cool, man. I just
Still had bags then.
Yeah. Yep. And my hair was a lot longer then.
That's the final years.
Man, it was that's cool that you have that to look back on, and you have the memories of it still,
Well, they're such cool guys. I mean, Scotty and Dave the Snake Sabo, man, they're like the sweetest guys you'll ever meet, dude. I mean,
yeah,
they're just
Snake,
down home New Jersey boys, Like, they don't walk around like they're famous, They're cool.
Yeah.
And plus, they enjoy their fans because they know they wouldn't be where they are right now if it wasn't for the people out front cheering them on. That's what's cool about them guys. They're just straight down to earth. Anybody that ever meets them always says the same thing.
Yeah, I mean,
really cool guys.
I'll have to send you the pictures of me back then with them. And those, you're right, man. Snake was like an idol to me. And when I met him, I was kind of shaken. Because I was at like,
he's
just the adrenaline and everything.
Player. Yeah,
dude, he calmed me down. He's like, he was all good. And then we realized that we have the same first and middle names, so that was kind of cool.
Oh wow,
dude, I was totally geeking out. I mean, I thought he was gonna be like, "Get this guy away from me, security," but no, man, he was like, dude, he sat there and talked to me for probably I'd say a good 20, 25 minutes.
Oh yeah, that's Snake right there, man. He's
yeah, it was awesome,
dude. That's all I can say is, and I hate to say it, but he's probably up there in the top 10 coolest dudes I've ever met that are famous rockers.
Yeah,
just down to earth.
That does not surprise me. He was awesome. And when you see the picture with me and him, you can see it.
Yeah, send it. Love to see it, bro.
I'll send it to you as soon as we get done here. Yeah, I'll send it to you. And, but yeah, man, it's and that's why I told Santy, I was like, man, I got to get this guy on here. And I was telling him who you were.
I appreciate it. Thank you, man. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Now, is there any questions that you guys have about that video that only I would know? Because you need to ask them now.
Yeah, well, that's a good question, actually. Dave?
Wait, let me think now. I had so many thoughts in my head. Well, this is gonna be a tough one. Now I know working with Wayne Isham was probably awesome, and I know all the
amazing.
Videos. You did a lot of improvisation on your own with the parts. He didn't really.
Oh, yeah.
How was he at directing?
Well, he was great at directing, and he had this whole script together, and he was going to put all this stuff together, but I started improvising. And he came to me, and he goes, there's something about you. He goes, man, I dig it, because I had this whole script, and I was having trouble figuring out what to do with a video, because he's used to movies. You know what I mean? But he did a lot of videos. He did Turbo Lover with Judas Priest. I mean, he's the top dog for rock and roll videos. But, he just kind of let it fly. And then when it was all said and done, he came up and he was like, he goes, man, I'm very pleased, man. He goes, you're so avant-garde out there and just, coming up with these different things to do, like waving the hand when he goes through the door, he never expected that, when at the old man, like, yeah, fuck you, we're out of here, Oh, shoot, can I say that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. You can say
I
anything
just dropped
you
the
want.
F-bomb. I'll watch it.
Now, this is a place where you can say whatever you want.
Just listen to the Lakes Up episode. You can say anything you want.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. And when he sticks the gun in my face and I push it away and I give him that smirk, like, what are you doing? That was just something I came up with too. And Wayne, when he shot it and was done, he goes, man, I couldn't have had it done any better. He was just happy through the whole shoot. He loved it.
And I want to give you credit on that shot too, because I do films here. I do my own independent films, and that, I told you about the documentary and everything. And that scene, you're right. That scene, your face says it all. Your face has that look like, get the fuck out of my face look. That's
acting. A lot of times you don't have to say it with words. Facial expressions are even better.
Dude, you nailed it on that. You're right. 100%.
You learn that from sitcoms. There's a lot of facial expression that makes shit funnier than the jokes they say,
Yeah, definitely. You can say a lot with just a look.
Yep.
And it's capturing that and getting it right. And man, you nailed it. That is for
and
sure.
The big giant high five when when the car blows up.
Yep. Man, there's so much in it. There's so much in that video.
I told Pat, I said, spin around and then just give me a high five, like because he used to do a lot of spins on stage. I was like, that'll be cool. And he spun around, he fucking with that gun, and then shot it. And then the car exploded, and then we did the big giant high five in the flames above the head.
Yeah, that's like that's kind of an iconic shot too. With
that was. The whole band was there, and Baz came out and goes, man, that was badass. I was like, right on, cool. He was like, badass. You guys are some bad mother truckers. That's Baz's famous line, bad mother truckers.
Now, you're pretty close to his height. Is he a little taller than you?
No, I'm 6'5". He's 6'4".
So you got him beat.
Yeah, about a half an inch.
Man, that's gotta be awesome.
We look about the same height. But yeah, he's tall.
Yeah, he's a big guy. Yeah, he's definitely tall. Walking around with those bull legs. Yeah.
So I'm looking at at your albums, right? And was there any point that after the video that any major labels approached you guys to release the albums?
Yeah, we had 3 major labels approaches that wanted to sign us.
Oh wow.
But at that time we were an independent label that my dad owned, and he wanted to start his own record company, and he was thinking he was going to do it independent, and he was going to do everything, and then he'd run it all. But it was just before its time, It's about 5 years later that bands started doing that, because at that time, he just didn't understand how the major record labels just had control of everything, and anything that we ever tried to do independently, they would just crush it. And it's very easy to do at that time. They owned basically everything. You couldn't get anything played on a radio. You couldn't get it sold in record stores unless you were part of the gang, as they called it. It was like the mafia. You had to be a member of the mafia, or you couldn't do it.
Yeah, that sucks. And but is there any unreleased material from that era?
We did an album in between The first album and the second album that was never released.
Oh,
That was with a bass player called Paul McCree.
so do you plan on ever releasing that stuff?
Well, I don't have the recordings anymore. It was such a long time ago.
Oh wow.
I do have a video of one concert we played in Atlanta, Georgia. We had a school bus back then, and we used to travel around in a school bus and play clubs. And we were doing, our original songs in one set, and then we'd play cover songs in another set, and then end the night with the first album,
Yeah.
And I do have one live of all those songs that we played on a DVD. But the recordings that we did in the studio, the tapes are gone. I can't find them. I don't know where they're at.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
I still have the master tapes to every album we did except that one because it was never released.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah. Wow.
Who
Well, I mean, yeah. Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask who was the producer you guys were working with?
On that one,
On
the first album would have been Dirk Dalton.
Who was it?
The first album was Dirk Dalton.
Dirk Dalton. Okay.
Dirk Dalton and my dad worked together in producing the band.
Oh. So your dad was involved with a lot of
Forgotten Child. It was going to be his retirement plan. He was going to start a record label, and become a millionaire. And he put a lot of effort into it. But, like I said, it was independent wasn't ready yet. It's like it took till like Beck came around in the, in the early 90s that people started putting things out independently,
Right.
Yeah.
and making it. Because back then it was, you had to be part of the gang or, you could, we were all over college radio, because college radio would play you, but regular radio stations won't play you. It's pay to play, and plus you have to have, you have to be in with somebody. Oh, you're not on a label, then we're not going to play you,
Now what happened with those? You said that you had some major labels interested. What happened with those? Why did those deals fall through?
Oh, well, my dad passed on. That's what I was talking about. He wanted to start his own label. So he told them all to pack up their jock strap and everything they got, and we're going to do it on our own, which later on in life, I thought that we should have went with a major label. Things would have been different.
Yeah.
But, you got loyalty to family, especially it's my pops. He put everything he had into us, so it's not like I go behind his back and sign to a record label, I was like, okay, well, we'll do this.
Right. Yeah.
And it took years later before we could finally do it independently. The late 90s. That's when we basically started putting albums out independently on our own label. If you look on the back of that album, we own the record label, Blue Lampion Records. Now, our fourth album, we got signed to a record label called Justified Records, which is a rap label out of California. And the guy, he did exclusively rap, but he had caught me and my brother playing one night, and he just thought we were just amazing musicians. So he said, we need to talk, and he gave us a card, and then, we ended up meeting, and then we went down to his studio and started jamming, and we used to sit in and play tracks for different rappers and stuff too. So he'd utilize us as musicians to play on different songs and shit that they were doing. And then he ended up, recording our third album, which would have been our fourth album if we would have got the second album done.
Right.
In his studio and putting it out on his label, Justified Records, which is, called Mama's Freaks.
Mama's Freaks. Oh, I did not. I haven't heard of that one. Is that?
Yeah, that's not one that's on the internet too much because it wasn't released a lot.
Okay. Gotcha.
we kind of got shelved because in another situation, even though that we were signed and we got paid and we were playing gigs, he was, like I said, an R&B rap label. So
Yeah.
it did, and we're at that time we're playing rock and roll, So it was like, I hate to say it, salt and pepper, but that's what it was, oil and
Yeah.
water. It just didn't mix.
Yeah. Exactly. So
But he loved us to death, and he just kept putting money into us, and he's like, it's gonna snap, but it never did. He ended up making more money on his rap bands than he did us.
Yeah.
And at that time, music was changing too, because that was let me see there, that was 93, 94. Grunge was taking over, so we went from that rock and roll sound on Rock and Roll Salvation to more of like a, I don't know if you would, Red Hot Chili Peppers type, California sound, with, adding some ska and stuff like that to our music. So we took a big giant leap and a step away, so our fan base changed. So a lot of people that were down with the sound, didn't like the new sound, so they didn't follow. So we had to create, a new genre, a new fan base, and all that.
And I think a lot of bands at that time were doing that as well, where everybody was just
did.
grasping for straws, and what we need now is, and
Seattle came in like a giant black cloud storm, like a hurricane, and just went over Los Angeles, and it was, and it's kind of crazy, but it was like in 1 month, it's like everything changed. It's like there was tumbleweeds out in front of the Sunset Strip at night. It was, no one was out there anymore passing out flyers and shit.
Yeah. So what's your take on that? Would you say that's entirely because of the music scene changing, or or maybe the Hollywood scene got too repetitive and over, like there was too many bands doing the same thing? What's your take? Yeah.
Well, you pretty much hit it on the head on both of those. I mean, it was a lot of pigeonholing and a lot of people just depending on looks. But, there was a lot of good music coming out of that genre too. I mean, a lot of great guitar players, lead players, that died out when, Nirvana and bands like that took over. There was no more guitar leads in the songs. Yeah. So that whole super guitar hero music just kind of died out.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's back now and at a full force. I mean, it's like it just came back, and I love it. It just kind of went away for a little bit.
It's like it almost needed to reinvent itself.
Yeah.
Take a breather, and then and here we are.
That's a good way to put it, right there. Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
And I love it. Like I went to that. Like I was telling you earlier, I went to that show last night. The big stadium tour, and just seeing, like I said, about younger people just rocking out again. It's awesome. I think I was more excited watching the kids around me than I was watching the bands at one point. It's awesome to see. It's awesome to see.
Yeah, when we went to go see Skid Row and Warrant, my buddy brought his daughter, and she's 17. And she wasn't even born when, these songs came out that, they were playing, but she could sing every lyric, and, it was just a trip.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, so and then she flipped out. We waited out backstage, and then Scotty and Rachel and Dave came out, and she got to say hello and stuff, and she freaked out. She had one of them giddy moments too, and they walked her through it.
I've been there.
Yep.
I've been there.
because they're like her favorite band, which is a trip. I mean, she's only 17, but she just loves Skid Row to death.
Well, good for her, and it's not a bad band to get into. That's for sure.
And they were so cool. They did, they came out and signed whatever she wanted and took pictures, and it was just awesome.
And
that's great.
And that's something like with me when it comes to loyalty. And it would have been even if I had met you guys, say back when you played the Akron Agora. If I had met you guys and you guys were cool to me, it didn't matter if you changed your sound or you changed a singer or you always had my support, and that's how I was with Skid Row. Even though Sebastian left, I still listened to everything they put out. I still did, it's a loyalty thing. When somebody treats you cool, you never forget it. You never forget
Oh, yeah.
It. And, that's.
A lot of fans lose that. I mean, I hate to drop names, which I'm not, but there's a few out there that lost a lot of their fan base because they're just, they're not friendly, egotistical, and, it's kind of sad. They don't see it.
Yeah. Or maybe they just don't, just don't care. They don't care.
Well, some people just become megalomaniacs,
Yeah.
They think they're like gods now, and they don't need anybody. And it's like, and then when all that goes away, then they realize, oh, damn.
Yeah. The ego's a powerful thing.
Yeah, very powerful.
Yeah. So in later years, there's been many like these little labels that are releasing old stuff from back in the day, from bands that either were not able to release stuff or only released demos and stuff like that. Were you ever approached by one of those?
Well, actually, there's quite a few of them on the internet that that remade our albums, like Sonic Age Records.
Okay.
There's well, you can see there's a bunch of them on the internet, and they're basically selling our product. I never seen a penny.
Wow.
Well, that sucks.
But it's after a certain amount of years, they can do what they can do. And then they tell you our lawyers are better than your lawyers, and what are you going to do? Spend $10,000 on a lawyer to get $5,000?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you ever officially release the Rock and Roll Salvation album or the first one as well, I would love to get a copy of those. Those are great albums.
Just independent on Blue Lampion Records, just like I said. Didn't take till the third album that we got signed, and that was initially officially released on a record label.
Yeah.
But, there's not a lot of copies of that either. I mean, there was a lot of them that went out, but I got a few of them. And what I do now is I just burn them in my computer.
Oh, okay. I thought like in a fire.
No, CD burner. If someone wants the third album, I just burn it because I'm out. Ran out.
I was about to hop in my car and drive to Missouri and take the load off of your hands.
No. CD burner.
That's okay. That's awesome.
I have my moments, but I don't ever get that crazy. I'd have to be really drunk to do that. Not saying I've never been there, but that's for another show.
Hey, we will have you back, man. We will have you back for part 2.
Right on. That'll work.
All right, so we always like to end our episodes with a little top 3 favorite albums. So which would you say are yours?
Oh man, well, I mean, the one album that changed my whole life when I was just a little kid when it came out that my brother turned me on to was the first Black Sabbath album, Black Sabbath.
Oh, nice.
And that's when I became a metalhead. I mean, that was it for me. I was like, it was just, I never heard anything like it in my life.
Yeah, it was a game changer for sure.
Oh yeah. So that would be number one, and then number two would be Led Zeppelin 4.
Oh wow,
Big
yeah,
part of
great.
my life that
Yeah,
Bonzo and his drumming changed my whole life. I took the genre of Bonzo a lot in my drumming, and you can see like in the drum solos that I played live, a lot of people say that, I remind them of Bonzo just with the crossovers and the way that I play.
oh nice, awesome. And
And
what's
then,
the third
and
one?
then I'd have to say Toys in the Attic, Aerosmith.
Oh yeah,
It would be my three deserted island where them three albums you could just listen, I could listen to them over and over and over and never get tired of them.
And those are three heavy hitters for sure.
Yeah.
definitely, yeah. Oh, all right, man. I mean, it was a pleasure having you here. I hope you had a good time.
Oh, I had a wonderful time. Thank you for having me, man. This was awesome.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, it was really fun talking with you, right, Dave?
it was awesome. I mean, that's why I reached out. I did want to touch on one more thing though, which
Okay.
we didn't touch on, because you're doing a pretty extraordinary thing. You playing drums, much like Rick Allen from Def Leppard, but you're doing it with a prosthetic leg, are you not?
Oh, yeah. I lost my leg 7 years ago. And that's my right leg, too, which is my kick foot, which I thought it's all over.
Oh wow.
And I just I just want to come out and say that's awesome that you're still able to do what you love. And
I'll tell you a story about that. My prosthetic doctor, after I got fitted, and I'm 2 years in, and I'm starting to walk with, and I'm getting my socket down, and my leg's shrinking, and everything's good. There's this Olympic runner. He ran the Olympics. I forget his name. Oh gosh, I shouldn't forget his name because I should name drop him, but I can't think of it right now. Maybe episode 2, but he got a heart murmur, and the doctor told him that he couldn't run anymore. He had to quit running, and he had an Olympic Nike running fin. You seen the fins, that the guys run with the prosthetic? Remember the guy from South Africa that had both limbs missing? And he had the graphite running fins?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
The ones that kind of bend up. Yeah.
Yeah, well, this guy went to my prosthetic doctor because that's where he got fitted for his prosthetics. And he asked him, he goes, I got this, it's like, $5,000 running fin that I had, and I used it in the Olympics, and I want to give it away, but I want to give it away to someone special. And John Sheldon is like, oh, man, I got the perfect candidate. Hold on. He calls me, and I'm on the phone, and this guy's talking to me, and I go, yeah, man, I'm an old drummer, man. I told him what I did, and we started talking. And I said, yeah, I need something like that so I can start playing, because we had been trying to get a grant. To make a long story short, I won't go too far into it. We were trying to get a grant from the government to get one made for me, but every time it came through, it didn't go through. It was like I wasn't one of the ones picked. They gave out like 5 of them a year, and that's all of the United States. And there's a lot of people, wanting that grant. So he knew how bad I wanted it. And he's like, well, okay, I'll give it to you. So I drove down and I picked it up from the guy and gave him a hug and said, thank you, man. And ever since then, I've had it. And my drumming is back to normal.
Oh wow, that's awesome, man.
That is very awesome.
I just don't have an ankle, so I don't have that ankle that I do miss that. But I've just had to work harder on, my leg to make my leg faster, which is a whole different way of playing drums. But if you're a drummer, any drummers out there will understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
you can't change losing your ankle because once your ankle's gone, that's it. But this running fin, it only weighs less than a pound, so it's just real light. So it's not a strain on my leg. So my leg can get going just as fast. And that's when I went back to double base because now I use left, right foot, so I don't have to use that ankle as much.
That is that's very awesome that you're able to do it again.
Yes. I mean, God is good, man. When, I hate to say it, but you could be in just the worst time of your life and the storm's coming down, the rain clouds are out, and then next thing you know, someone like that gives you, changes your whole life. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Very cool. Sure. Very, very cool.
Yeah. All right, man. Again, it was a pleasure having you here, and we are now a friend of the show. So whenever you want to be back, you're welcome.
Sounds great, man. Let me know. I'll be back anytime.
Awesome. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to be rocking to some Forgotten Child now.
All right.
After
I'm gonna get that out for you. You got a cassette player?
I do not.
Okay. Well, I got everything on digital MP3s now, so I can just send it over in an MP3 format, and you can put it on, your computer and just listen to it. It's actually even easier than having a listening device.
Oh yeah, I'm down for that. I'm down for anything.
I got about 8 albums for you.
Oh wow.
Now, I have to warn you, the ones we did in the late 2000s is pure thrash metal. I mean, I went back to my roots when I was in Florida. I got the thrash metal guys to play with me down there when I moved to Florida. So it's a whole different ball game.
Well, I'm not prejudiced when it comes to heavy metal.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
I dig it all. So.
Well, I'll send both of you some MP3s when I get off here, so you can listen to them.
All right, man. Yeah, thanks.
Awesome.
Thanks. Thank you for that. Yeah. All right, man. Have a good day, man. Take care, brother. And let's keep in touch.
Yes, man, definitely. And thank you for having me, guys. I've loved it.
No problem, man. Thank you for doing this, and I'm definitely going to keep in touch with you.
Okay, definitely do, bro.
We got a deal to take care of, so.
Yeah. All right, that'll work.
All right. Okay.
I'm about to be in Cleveland soon, so we'll go out and check out the town. You can show me around.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, we'll go to. Hey, you been to the Rock Hall yet?
No,
Dude, okay, I'll definitely take you to the Rock Hall. We'll look at some rock and roll shit, and then we'll go grab some food, and we'll hang.
That'll work. Okay, brother.
Down for that.
Awesome. Okay, take care, man.
Hey, man.
All right, man.
Care, bro.
Later.
Bye-bye. All right, folks. Sadly, that's all the time we have for today, but what an episode, right? Don't forget to hit the follow button on Spotify and share it with your friends. You can also follow us on Instagram at hollywood.dreams.podcast. And rock on!